For some reason, I really wanted to sleep with Don Hang tonight.
43 minutes into what should have been a normal 2-hour flight.
So I ran over.
AirAsia Flight 8501 disappears from radar. January 25th, 2010. It's just past midnight at Beirut's International Airport. Captain Habtamu Nagasa has been flying with Ethiopian Airlines for over 20 years and has more than 10,000 hours in the cockpit.
Exterior checks complete?
Check complete, no problems.
The first officer is far less experienced. Alula Bayene is a recent graduate of the Ethiopian Airlines Flight Academy. Tonight, there are 82 passengers aboard the Boeing 737. They are preparing for an overnight flight to Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Flight 409's flight plan calls for it to head southwest, then make a U-turn towards a navigational checkpoint called Cheka. Ethiopian Airlines 409 lifts off just after 2:30 in the morning. The captain begins banking the plane to the right as he climbs.
Ethiopian 409, control 19.3, Ma Salama.
The tower controller bids the crew goodbye and hands the flight off to a colleague.
No, you're still my favorite Vidyadhara dragon.
The area controller instructs Flight 409 to climb to 29,000 feet.
Flight level 290, Ethiopian 409.
But the weather ahead is becoming fierce. Just a few minutes into the flight, something is going wrong. An alarm warns the crew that their turn is becoming dangerously steep. Captain Nagasa is struggling to correct the problem. He veers back to the left towards the thunderstorm the controller wants him to avoid.
No.
The controller sees that Flight 409 is starting to veer back towards Beirut. He warns the pilots again that they need to turn.
Ethiopian 409.
Follow heading 270.
Turn right, heading 270.
Right, heading 270, roger.
Okay, what heading did he say?
270, set.
Wait, we're in public.
The cockpit fills with a disturbing sound.
What is it?
The control columns vibrate, warning them that the plane is about to stall.
Speed! What is it? Go around, go around.
Roger, go around.
The captain pushes the throttle all the way up to go around power. But their situation is even more dire.
Is there something on my face?
God! Oh God! Oh God!
As day breaks, wreckage begins to wash up on shore. Navy ships recover floating debris and some human remains. 82 passengers and 8 crew are dead. It's just after 5 a.m. in Jakarta, Indonesia, as 181 passengers settle in for a short domestic flight. Lion Air Flight 610 is a 90-minute journey from Jakarta over the Java Sea to Bangka Island. At 6:20,
Rotate.
the MAX 8 lifts off the runway at Jakarta. But immediately there's trouble. The captain's control yoke starts shaking, a warning that the plane is about to stall.
Takeoff config.
Okay, but what?
The pilots can't identify the source of the problem. They have no choice but to continue climbing.
Lion 610, fly heading 248.
And follow standard instrument departure.
Lion Air 610.
The air traffic controller has no idea that there's an issue in the cockpit.
No, you're still my favorite Videodara dragon.
The pilots get a warning that their airspeed indicators do not agree.
Airspeed disagree. What's going on? Should we request a return to Jakarta?
Landing gear up.
No, you're still my favorite Videodara
Flight
dragon.
610.
Climb to flight level 270.
No.
Still unaware of any trouble, the controller instructs the crew to continue climbing to 27,000 feet.
Wait, we're in public.
Altitude disagree.
The first officer now notices that the altimeters also show conflicting readings.
Acknowledged altitude disagree.
The situation is deteriorating quickly. Now flying 5,000 feet above the sea, Captain Sinasia struggles to keep the plane's nose up.
Flight path vector may be unreliable.
Line 610, turn right, heading 070 to avoid traffic ahead.
Set the pitch attitude. Roger, heading 070.
Flight 610 is flying erratically over the Java Sea and becoming increasingly more difficult to control. Controller allows Flight 610 to fly at any altitude the pilots choose.
Please clear 3,000 above and below of traffic.
Okay, will do. What
Altitude would you like?
It's diving.
It's
It's
diving.
okay, it's okay.
Flight 610 is now speeding towards the sea,
Airspeed.
and the pilots are out of options.
Fly up. Up.
Wait, we're in public.
30 minutes after crashing into the Java Sea, the wreckage of Lion Air Flight 610 is located. There are no survivors. In Douala, Cameroon, Kenya Airways Flight 507 is almost an hour behind schedule.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to wait for the weather conditions to improve before we take off.
A severe storm must pass before the pilots can depart.
Tower, Kenya 507. Looks like there's a break in the weather. Requesting startup.
Okay, 507. Startup approved.
Startup checklist. Quickly, please.
Generators on.
A few minutes before midnight, Flight 507 is finally ready for takeoff.
Okay. Takeoff thrust is set. Speed building on both.
Check.
80 knots.
Check.
V1. Rotate.
Just after midnight, Kenya Airways Flight 507 finally departs for Nairobi. Suddenly, the 737 rolls dangerously to the right. The captain fights to level the plane. But it continues banking further and further right. Bank angle. Despite the pilot's efforts, they keep rolling.
We're crashing! Yeah, we are crashing! Left! Left! Left correction!
Bank angle.
5 hours later, the controller in Douala is ending his shift.
Is there something on my face?
You really like those burgers, huh? Here.
Kenya Airways Flight 507 should have landed in Nairobi 45 minutes ago, but the plane has still not arrived.
Sure.
and no one even knows where to start looking for it. Two days later, search teams finally locate the wreckage of Kenya 507. It's 3.5 miles southeast of Douala Airport. The 737 has crashed into a mangrove swamp and is submerged in mud and water. There are no survivors. At Los Angeles International Airport, United Airlines Flight 718 is preparing to depart for Chicago. At 9:04 in the morning, Flight 718 lifts off from Los Angeles. Captain Shirley must follow an assigned corridor through the airspace around Los Angeles. After that, he's free to fly wherever he wants, as long as he reports in, passing a series of waypoints along the route to Chicago. 54 minutes into the flight, the DC-7 reaches its second waypoint. The crew will next check in when they cross a point on the map known as the Painted Desert Line. Cruising at 21,000 feet, the crew spots thunderclouds ahead and adjusts their course.
Too loud. Ugh. Turn it off.
Shocked passengers have no idea what's gone wrong.
Oh, God! Bank, 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 bank! Come on, baby, come on!
Flight 718 is overdue to check in. Calls from dispatch go unanswered.
You turn it off.
Air Traffic Control Headquarters in Salt Lake City.
CA Salt Lake.
Controllers here don't normally communicate directly with flight crews. They get flight information by phone from airline dispatchers who are in radio contact with their pilots.
Oh my God!
At 10:51, they get a disturbing call from United Airlines dispatch.
Salt Lake.
Ew!
Understand.
Ew!
United 718, 20 minutes
Doing in my
overdue.
bed?
Painted.
I should be asking you that! You're the one butt-ass naked in my bed!
Moments later, another dispatcher calls. More disturbing news.
Sleepy.
Stell, have you just come out the shower? Your hair's still wet.
Controllers now know that two planes flying from LA have not reported crossing a scheduled waypoint, the Painted Desert Line. United Flight 718 and TWA Flight 2 to Kansas City were both expected to reach that waypoint at 10:31. Controllers send out a bulletin asking local authorities to keep an eye out for the two missing planes. The next morning, news comes from authorities in Arizona, confirming everyone's worst fears.
They found him?
The remains of two different planes have been spotted in Arizona's Grand Canyon. The twisted wreckage of United 718 lies on a rocky ledge 688 feet up the sheer canyon wall. The Air Tour pilot spots the second crash site on the floor of the canyon, about 1 mile away. The immediate priority is to get rescuers into one of the least accessible places in North America. When rescuers finally reach the crash area, they first find the scattered remains of TWA Flight 2. Reaching the wreckage of the other plane will be even more difficult. It's not long before rescuers come to a grim conclusion. Everyone aboard both planes is dead. It is now up to investigators from the Civil Aeronautics Board to piece together what happened. AirAsia Flight 8501 cruises high above the Java Sea north of Indonesia. The pilot in command is 53-year-old Captain Irianto. He's highly experienced with more than 20,000 hours in the air. His first officer is French national Rémi Emmanuel Plaisil. He is 46 with about 2,000 flight hours, much of it on the Airbus. 22 minutes into the flight, the pilots notice bad weather ahead on their radar. The captain decides to increase altitude to go above the storm clouds in their path.
I'm gonna radio for a higher cruise. Get around that weather.
Good idea.
But before the captain can contact air traffic control, he gets a fault warning from the flight computer.
ECAM actions?
The plane's sophisticated computers give the pilot step-by-step instructions on how to fix the issue. The pilots now notice that the plane is rolling sharply left.
Level. Okay, level.
Something is going terribly wrong with Flight 8501. The first officer is struggling.
Level.
But soon the plane is rolling again.
Level.
I'm trying.
The pilots can't seem to regain control.
It's not responding.
Pull down.
It's not correcting.
The plane seems to have taken on a life of its own. It climbs higher and higher as the pilots fight to level off. Then, inexplicably, the plane starts to drop.
Altitude.
I see it.
Flight 8501 is plummeting from the sky, speeding toward the ocean below.
Sleepy.
Stell, have you just come out to shower?
It seems the pilots can do nothing to save their plane.
Pull! It's not correcting. What's going on? Max power.
Slowly.
For some reason, I really wanted to sleep with Don Hang tonight.
43 minutes into what should have been a normal 2-hour flight.
So I ran over.
AirAsia Flight 8501 disappears from radar.
Pull! I'm trying! Pull! It's not correcting!
You... Don't say it like that!
I can't.
Of the 162 passengers and crew, there are no survivors.